Extra kitty. And I get closer, and there's Rocket. Hello, and welcome back. Tuesday afternoon, well, evening now, 7:10. Didn't make a sales video. There were 7 that went out for 144, somewhere right around there. So I saved, well, that little bit of time there. I got pictures of this disc media. There was 28 that went up in a small stack, like 6 or 7 that are at least going to get a 15-second spin on the resurfacer. Get that done. Took down like 30 something to do sell similars, and then it was like 2 o'clock and I was done. Well, let's go up to Savers. Went up to Savers and grabbed a few things right there. All right. So it's not quite 300 what I picked up, tad under. However, I can kind of explain a little bit about the books on why of the books that are there or that were there or in different thrift stores on why I'm, I won't say like honing in on, but why I'm picking these ones and taking the time to look them up as opposed to some others. So I do in other videos kind of opine a little on why I pick certain books to look up, and it's typically going to be just based on the wording in the title. With the look, it's going to be style, color, fading, font, design. And I do get tricked when there's a older font used and kind of a faux patina type look on a newer book. But what's I going to do if it has a barcode? Scan the barcode, see what happens. Now, as for what got listed today, so I listed the Taylor Swifties individually, and one I think is like $25. This one was maybe it was a little less than 25. And this one, after it would have been on sale, would have been like $14. And I listed it, and it sold before I can even put it on sale. So instead of it being like 14, the person paid 17. So Taylor Swift, self-titled, 2006, 2008, 6. It looks like Big Machine. So most of her stuff I will buy. There's some that obviously pass up because of what you scan and you can determine. All right. So those were listed. Those I could. The way the sales are going right now, and there's also this sold already. So that was on the stack of that. This is Supertramp, and that sold for $38 already. Actually, it sold while I was taking a little nap. All right. So as for what I scooped up, so here is Asia, and this was, I want to say it was a 2012 pressing. You probably can't see it. Right here, made in Italy. So still like $20. Now we get into the books. So this is Danny Dunn, Ocean Floor, a library bind, a permabind, hunting. Is it called a hunting? It's upside down. Why did we do that? I don't know. Hunting, yes. 2 T's. It's like $20, maybe a little over with this permabind. There are ones that are permabind that do sell for right around that range. So it's $1.80. That'll slip into most likely one of the little 10-cent envelopes I use. goes on its way. This Emotions Anonymous is a later printing, a 10th printing from 2012. You can still type these up. They sell 18 to 22, low 20s. So for me to pay $3, it'll go out media mail. That'll be, the $4.47 for that. And it'll sell pretty quick. Although it's $3 for probably right at the 20 mark, it still sells really fast. So I'm not worried about wrapping the $3 and breaking that 1 to 10 rule. And that's not even steadfast either. It could even be, if it's sold for more often 22 to 25, but even if it was 5, I would still pick it up. If there are like 4 or 5 listed and 30 have sold, yeah, I'm going to get that because I'm just going to recoup that money like that. That's not really, that I think spending money to recoup it via a fast sale is kind of a bad nomer to go off of, to a bad mantra to go off of. To make money on something that you're going to put your time and money in is the most ideal outcome. However, if it's going to make you 5 or if it's going to make you 50, regardless of the ratio of the split of what it cost to what it will sell for and what that profit will be, you don't want to wrap yourself up into buying stuff for $10 that sells for 20 so you can make 2. That absolute math may not be correct, but I think you get my point. You don't want to have this very, very, very low ROI, to where ultimately on a $20 sale, if it was media, we'll just go with that. It's going to be, 10's going to be $1.50, so it's going to be 3. Let's just say that's going to be 6 to ship. So let's just say you have 10 wrapped up right there in fees and shipping, and it costs you 8. I wouldn't necessarily do that a whole lot, because then you're doing a whole lot of work for little money. The point is to do less work for more money. So just the opposite. All right, back to the point. So we have this Other Shores Diane Naiad. So this one was out there when I was there before, and I wasn't finding much. So I was like, you know what? I'll go ahead and spend the $3. It's a high 20s to high 30s book. It is clean. It does have a red bind. What I mean by red is, you can open that up and you can tell that somebody has had it opened. An unread bind would be very, very tight like this. And that's as much as a book would open. Now, it does have a remainder stamp down here. I want to say it's remainder stamp. I can't make out what it is. That's about $30. This Last Exit to Brooklyn. Another book that was like $3. This is a 3rd printing from 1964. We can see here a little bit of this top foxing, Foxing, just means those little stains. Obviously, it's a red bind. Clean. 50 to 70. Around about. First editions are closer to 100. This is not, it is a first edition 3rd print. First edition higher print ones are going to be less. First edition printing to where you get closer to the first is going to be a little more. This is $50 to $60. And this Attempt to Cure. So when I go and I'm talking about these books as they're lined up like this, and they're not going to have barcodes. I can tell by just the fade of the spine on the dust jacket here, kind of the sheen that's with the dust jacket. There's a lot of things that you're going to be able to tell are just, they have the older look. And there's going to be a lot of older books that you can look up, but it's I don't know if this Last Exit to Brooklyn, Hubert Selby Jr. was born and raised in Brooklyn. From PS 102, 2 years for full life from shipping out to sea. So I don't know if this is an autobiography type. That one is. But specifically about this, This is the inspiring story of a remarkable woman who has fulfilled her psychological and emotional goals by pushing her body to its physical limits. Don't know. And a lot of this self-help stuff can kind of come in handy. So there were other self-help, some more AA stuff there, but those are going to be the more likely ones that I would pass up, or ones that I know just by looking them up already. Like, you know what, most likely not, or I looked them up there before, or I've already looked them up enough times to know. Same thing with this. Attempt to cure, just book sitting right here. What's going to be with holistic medicine? All right, so this is going to be pretty much like any other type cure book. If you just look at it, you just look at the title, and I hadn't seen one of these before, so I grab it, scan it. Sure enough, they're like 40, $50. So I paid $3. So, in a nutshell, why I look more for the older books, primarily non-barcode, because there's a lot of other booksellers who don't bother with those. Now, this green was a new color. No, it's probably put out that day. That's probably why that was still there. In my different times in stores, it's fairly rare that I'll run into another bookseller. I said it before that some of the ones for Amazon just seem to be very non-conducive to the typical flow of just people, and are in an absolute bubble just for themselves. I'm saying that nicely. So the books that don't have a barcode, a lot of the times I don't know that they don't have a barcode until I pull them out, look on the back. Now, when I look on the back, I'm hoping that they have one so I don't have to type it because it just makes it substantially quicker. However, if I do have to type it, if I have it in my hand, I've already have it off the shelf. Even if it's a book, if I were to just scan this, and if it were to turn out, hopefully it would have been a smaller book, and it would turn out to where it's only like a $10 book, I'll open it up and I'll see if it's signed. Because a book, if it sells for $10 and it's signed, it's probably a $15, maybe $20 book. Then you have to look a little more. With the non-barcode, the technical, religious, self-help, some educational, very, very few textbook, smaller ones, much older ones, biographies, autobiographies, things along those lines is what I'm primarily after. I will still look at the novels and the novellas and things in that in that line. It's few and far between. You might find, real early Grissom or King or Danielle Steele or McCullough. You might find one of those in the mix. Go over to the horror and science fiction. Always look up horror and science fiction. So there's a lot of different things that I look for when it comes down to books. So for the most part, that's going to wrap that one up. So if you like what you heard, like what you saw, like what you learned, kind of look for books that have that fade, that font. You'll start pick up on genres and topics on what to look for while you're out and about looking. All right? Everything going up, comment down below, subscribe, share. Those are all free. They only take a second. They help me, help you, so we can all help other people learn about selling physical media, at least buying physical media, so you can post it, hopefully sell it on eBay. Appreciate it. Thank you.